So welcome back, or welcome to Yoga with Ciara. This is day 17. Yes, it's day 17 of Wonder. So I was at a really wonderful party last night, and it was a bit like a Tupperware party for my yogis. There was just so many of you there. It was amazing. I kind of think I'm going to jump out of my head, but I think it was 15 of you were there. It just was amazing. It was amazing seeing you all in person, and yeah, it was wonderful. It was really wonderful. So come, we're going to lie on the floor and do some yum. We're going to be on our back. We're going to do alarm clocks. And then we're also going to do side lying into the hips, okay? So come lie on your back. Come, come. So land down onto your spine. Have a sense of the floor beneath you. That sense of shoulders landing, feet settling, spine arriving. Nice. And then arch into the lower back and then flatten your lower back down. Arching into your lower back and then flattening down. Wonderful. Arching and flattening down. Nice. And then tilt your pelvis from left to right. So keeping your knees center, then just lift your pelvis on one side, lift your pelvis on the other side. And notice the effort that you have to do somewhere in the front of your belly, and then also something at the back of your hip or the back of your buttock. Can you feel the sandwich of the muscles at the front and the muscles at the back, moving your hip forward and backwards? And then just do the right hip. So I'm just lifting the right hip, lifting the right hip, lifting the right hip. And then just do the left. Lifting the left, lifting the left, lifting the left. So we're going to make it a little bit harder. So lift your right foot off the floor so your knee is directly over your hip. And now try and lift your right hip. Lift your right hip. So I'm using my elbows more, and I'm much more aware of the deep of my belly as I do this. So I'm trying to lift my right hip off the floor with my knee in the air. Nice. How would you lift your left hip with your right foot in the air? Left hip. Left hip. Not as much effort, but a little bit of an odd movement. Try the other side. So left foot is in the air, knee is directly over your hip, and then try and lift the left buttock off the floor and feel how you pull your left shoulder backwards to lift your left hip off the floor. I can feel my abdominal muscles working out. How do I do this? How do I connect? And then try and lift your right hip off the floor, keeping your left foot where it is. How interesting. Cool. Both feet to the floor, and now sway your knees from side to side. A sense of the lengthening through the belly, the connections down from the deep of the roots of your legs up into the rib cage, up into the sides of your waist, into the shoulders. Where do your legs begin? I love that question. If it's moving when all of me, all of me is connected to all of me. Nice. Come all the way back to center and just pause. So we're going to do alarm clock. So bring your arms long beside you. And then in the beginning, just bring your right hand over beside the left shoulder. Okay, so I'm going to do this so you can see me this way. Beside the left shoulder. Okay, and then come back. Bring your elbow to the floor. Bring your right hand. So my fingertips are touching the floor over on the left-hand side. And then come back. Maybe go a little bit further. But I'm not lifting my head off the floor. I'm just trying to work what is the furthest reach that I have, keeping my head on the floor, and I'm just using my arm. So I can feel all kinds of interesting things in my arm there as I reach over towards the left with my right arm. Nice. Try the other side. Right arm long beside you. Take the left hand and touch the floor beside your right shoulder. Elbow to the floor. touch. Floor. Keeping your head on the floor, what's the furthest you can reach? So both sides of my body, it's just amazing how different one side is from the other. So this side, I think I injured it like years ago. And so there's always this kind of confused, kind of like wobbly movement that happens where it gets kind of stuck. And so I'm just really fascinated. I'm like, oh, wow, there you are again, you wonderful shoulder. You managed so well. Nice. Okay, so now we're going to start going a bit further. So we're going to take the right hand and we're going to roll our head and then lift our head as we reach our right hand over towards the left. Pause. Both feet are flat on the floor. My knees haven't moved much. Okay? And just breathe into that back of the ribs on the right and then come all the way back to center. Nice. Try the other side. Take your left hand over and then follow your left hand as far as you can. My feet are staying flat on the floor. And I'm really feeling into that back of the ribs on the left as I do this. Yum. Nice. Come back to center. One more time each side of this version. Right hand all the way. Is that the right? Yes, right hand all the way to the left. And then left hand all the way to the right. So the true alarm clock one is actually over your head. So you're going to take your right hand and keeping your feet flat on the floor, how would you reach over your head to pick something up? Feet are flat on the floor in the beginning. Come back. And then try the other hand, reaching over your head, bringing your fingertips to the floor. I always look at what I'm reaching for. It's an automatic thing. Nice. You can drop your knees if you wish as you reach. And just begin to roll one side to the other. And I'm really interested. The shoulder on the floor is kind of connected and strong. It's not a passive shoulder. It's really taking the weight of me and feeding, like it's equal to the force that's squishing it, the effort that my shoulder is doing on the floor. Very interesting. I don't think I've noticed that before. Nice. And pause. Come all the way back and just pause there. Nice. So bring the soles of your feet together and your knees apart, and then reach down and hold on to your feet and pull your feet towards you. Draw your shoulders away from your ears and just pause. And deepen your breath into your belly. Nice. And then just do a little tiny movement. Like, oh, there's my inner thigh. Oh, there's my inner thigh. Oh, there's my, oh, there. Oh, yeah. And it's just this little bit of a rocking, tiny. Nice. Bring your feet a little bit closer to your head. Rock a tiny bit. Maybe bring your feet over your face as you rock from side to side. Small movement. And then just begin to kind of, it's like I'm swaying or zigzagging slowly from feet over my belly, feet over my face. I'm kind of just swaying from side to side as I travel. And then I'm going to let the movement get a little bit bigger. But I'm really listening to the sensations because in different places where my feet are, there'll be different things happening in my pelvis, different things happening in my knees, different thing happening in my legs. So just feel. How do you rock from side to side? Maybe you make the movement even bigger. So when I make the movement bigger, I have to kind of, there's now a balancing happening or a return. It's like, yeah, coming back from the balance. Yeah. Channel your inner Miss Piggy and like fling yourself back from side to side. In wellness, of course. Nice. Super. Take the right foot and hold on to it and then lengthen the left leg long. So I'm coming into happy baby pose on the right, but my left leg is long. Right foot holding on to it, left leg long. And just settle in. If you want to keep your left knee bent for a while, or like we were doing yesterday, kind of travel into that lengthening. So bend it, lengthen it. So there's always that opportunity of warming up or settling into something rather than just landing in and becoming rigid. So we're not practicing rigidity, we're practicing range of motion and ability. So really feel that. Are you becoming rigid as you move? And if so, move your body. Nice change. Bring the left foot up, hold on to it, stretch the right leg long. And again, you're not practicing rigidity. So there's that feeling of, oh, I'm moving, I'm able to move things. If ever you're in a pose and you can't move things, then back out of the pose. I think personally in my own body, it doesn't feel all that safe to be so far that I can't have strength or ability in my own spine. Always easing off, wiggling a bit, moving a bit, leaning in. Nice. Both feet up into happy baby. So I'm holding onto the soles of my feet or your ankles or the backs of your knees. And just deepen your breath down into your belly. I have this imagination that the weight of my hands is slowly dropping my knees wider and wider out beside me. My shoulders are settling backwards. I'm letting my hands hold as my arms hang. Nice. Bring your feet to the floor, keep them wide and bring them down so they're as wide as your mat. And now drop your knees from side to side into a wide angle knees. And as you drop down the top leg, lean into the front of the belly, the front of the thigh. So there's this sense of that sweeping up through the deep of the thigh to the deep of the belly. So there's this like the long line of the psoas, of the flexors of the leg, all connecting through the front. So I'm just leaning my knee down. Maybe bring your feet a little bit wider. If that feels too much, then reverse backwards. Otherwise, lean into the front of your thigh. Lean into the front of your thigh. So one of my knees is telling me that that's too wide. It kind of does this twang. So I've reversed backwards a bit because my knee was like, no, don't know why, but I don't like that. I'm like, okay, I hear you. Nice. Stretch both legs long and just pause, hands on your belly. Listen. So we did like shoulder stuff, we did twisty stuff, we did hippie stuff, we did knees, we've done feet a little bit. Can you feel that in your body? Nice. So feet to the floor, and then bring your right arm long beside your ear and roll over onto the right side. And so I'm shifting myself so I stay on my mat and that I'm in a long line. So my knees are directly in front of my hips and my arm is resting underneath my head. Or if you want to put a pillow under your head, you can, okay? And then from here, bring your left hand to the floor just in front of your chest. And the action we're going to try is try and bring your knee the left knee as far forward as you can. And then try and pull the left knee back as far as you can. So it's like I'm pushing something forward with my knee, and then I'm pulling my left hip backwards. So there's this sense of, what was this like? I suppose it's a bit like, it's a bit kind of like a parallelogram. It's like I want from being a square to being to being at an angle, or I'm like a choo-choo train. I just feel that. Left knee glides forward, left knee glides back. And you can feel it in the back of your buttock, in the deep of your groin, in your belly. Nice. And now roll that left knee in a huge circle. I just feel that. What's the biggest circle you can make with that left knee? And there's a certain point where I'm trying to stay connected, stay connected, stay connected. And then my foot has to go backwards for me to meet the range of my hip and my belly, and then change direction. That's the biggest, fullest, wellest circle you can make with your left knee. I'm keeping my right thigh on the floor, just there, started to lift. I'm like, oh no, keep your right thigh on the floor. Super. Stretch the left leg long as far as you can and bring it so far down and away that it actually lifts your right ribs off the floor. And then pull your right ribs onto the floor. Reach with your left leg so your ribs lift, and then flatten your ribs down into the floor and your left leg comes back. So let your left leg reach and then push your ribs really hard, deeply into the floor. Deeply, not hard. Reach with your toes, ribs down. So feel that. How would you make that movement even more by pulling your left leg up into its own socket? So I'm shortening the left side and then lengthening. Shortening the left side and then lengthening. One more time. And next time you lengthen, pause, really reaching into your toes. I feel almost like my head has been lifted by the pull of my leg downwards. My ribs on the right are off the floor. And I'm trying to go even further, like being really lazy, and I'm turning off a light switch with my toes. Nice. Both knees together. Pause. Cool. Come to the other side. So come lie on your back. And then left arm is long beside your ear. Roll over onto your side. So you're lying on your side and your knees are directly out from your hip. Your right hand is on the floor in front of you and your head is resting on your arm. And then glide your right knee forward and then right knee back. There is unbelievably bad black ice outside tonight, or today. So be really careful. Don't go out unless you have to. And if you do, go really slowly. So draw your knee back and draw your knee forward. So I'm gliding that right knee forward and backwards, really feeling how I reach the knee away and then I pull it back and my hip travels backwards. I just have this really interesting glidey movement of the thigh moving forward, thigh moving back. Nice. And now draw a big circle with your right knee. And I'm keeping my right hand really flat to the floor and my left thigh is flat to the floor. And so as a result, there's a stability that emerges rather than I'm not rolling my body. My body is staying still. So even focus a bit more on pushing that right hand into the floor. It'll create even more stability. Nice. Roll in the other direction. Nice. So stretch your right leg really long and stretch it so long that your ribs actually lift off the floor on the left side. And then pull your ribs down into the floor. Reach through your toes. Pull your ribs down. Reach through your toes. And now imagine that you're shortening the right side and then lengthening the right side. So that pushing down is still happening on the left, but you're changing your orientation of the movement. Really reach. Pull. So for me, that really, all these movements are really meeting my deep psoas and my bum. Great. One more time. And now reach as far much as you can. Left ribs have lifted off. Toes are lengthening. And just feel like, where are the roots of your leg? It's amazing, the origin of your leg and the deep of your belly and the side of your waist. Nice. Come back to center and then come lie on your back. Pause. Cool. And then just roll up and down along your spine. And like we did yesterday, find that moment where you return. You traveled up, and then there's this pause, and then you travel down. And it's not that you even have to make a pause. The pause naturally happens in the direction change. So feel the buoyancy of the pause. I was saying yesterday that for me, the solstice is like this deep still point, an electric still point in the year for me, a sense of a buoyant direction change. Nice. Come lie on your back, soles of your feet together, palms together, arms up towards the ceiling. We're going to do the offering from the floor. Again, if you do want to sit up, then do. Otherwise, stay where you are. And just begin to move your arms in a way that you feel connects your heart into the space in front of you and connects your belly into the space in front of you, that you're inhabiting more of the space around you with the deep sense of you. This zone of influence where you can reach your arms and legs to. This is your space. How do you inhabit your space? Listening, feeling, connecting. One more time from wherever you are. Nice pause. And just feel as you reach your arms forward that they're held in the space above you, around you. And you can be in the whole of this space, that you don't stop at your skin. You have a sense of like yours. It's like if somebody stands too close to you, they're in your space. And so, yeah, so feel that. Feel your space right now, expanding your awareness, deepening your breath into your belly. Nice. Palms come together. Come rest on your chest. And then stretch your legs out. Pause there. Resting there. How lovely. Every once in a while, I realize that, I'm all alone in this room and I'm talking away to myself and laughing to myself. And then I'm like, no, I'm not alone. I'm with all of you. And so thanks so much for joining me. Yeah, it's such a deep and wonderful pleasure to be here. And it was really so wonderful to meet you all last night. It was really sweet. So anytime any of you, if ever any of you see me, I like recently I was at an event and somebody came up to me and told me that they were one of my followers, one of you guys. And so always come up to me. I'm a very extroverted introvert. And so I'm really shy. So I really get that thing of, oh, will I go up? Won't I go up? So do come up. I'd love to see you. I'd love to talk to you. So great. I will see you all tomorrow. Another epic day of, oh, it's real yum tomorrow. Like the yum of the yum is happening tomorrow. So be well, be awesome, be you. And thanks for joining me. And that lovely quote this morning, we carry within us the wonders we seek around us. Yeah, it's all there. So great. Ciao.